recording to there we go. I'm so excited. This is going to be so good. Everybody put in the chat, how are you feeling today? Because if one of us is feeling it, we're probably all feeling it. Yeah, all good if your video's not on, all good if unmute, that is okay. I'm going to be doing most of the talking here today. We're going to be on for about 75 minutes. So, we've got a lot to kind of go over, but I'd love to hear. Awesome. So Magda's feeling heavy energy,
Oh shit.
feeling good and calm. You're good. Holly,
You can hear me, and I just realized that.
that's okay. Here, I can mute you if that's okay. Gonna mute everybody. Awesome. Just so that we don't have a lot of feedback and a lot of noise coming through. Feeling excited, feeling good and calm. I'm feeling really excited too. Feeling really heavy this morning, but was able to shift it with a long walk and some creative expression. Yes, 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 yes to all of that. So yeah, just put in the chat how you're coming and feeling. And also, let's drop in the chat our profiles. Let's drop in the chat. I'm a 4-6. Who else is a 4-6? Gabs just jumped on. I know she's a 4-6. We've got a 1-3. Yeah, let's everyone drop their profiles and also invitation to drop your Instagram handle. I know Paulina, okay, we've got one projector in here, but she's our honorary reflector. So everyone say hello to our honorary reflector, Paulina. Really excited. Yeah, drop your profile, drop your Instagram. Um, let's connect with each other and find at least one new reflector friend, maybe someone who shares the same profile as you. As I get all of my notes and whatnot ready, we're dropping our handle, our Instagram, or LinkedIn if we're not on Instagram. Drop that in the chat. And yeah, let's connect with some other reflectors. Maybe find someone who has the same profile as you. And if you get anything out of today, like let it be that. Let it be that you made a new connection, a new reflector friend. Send her a DM, send her a private little Zoom message that you see her and you would love to know more about her. Because when reflectors connect and share experiences, like it's literally the most validating, magical, affirming conversation you'll ever have. So make sure you're connecting in the chat and meeting your reflector sisters and sending some like flirty little messages to each other. I would love that. Okay, cool. So a lot of folks are jumping on, which is really exciting. The replay is going to be available to everyone. So if you missed the first couple moments, that's okay. And yeah, I'm just going to jump right in because we have a good amount of stuff to get through. And really quick, I just want to lay out how we're going to be spending the next 70 minutes together so everyone kind of knows a little bit of the agenda. So if you're on this call right now, it's safe to say you're feeling called to align your business to your unique design. And it makes sense that you're here because business was not built by or for the 1%, which means that 99% of business advice is not actually correct for us. Like it's literally not correct for us. And so maybe you've been feeling that. Maybe you have the awareness of your design and you know that you're built different, but maybe you haven't necessarily like integrated that awareness into your life and into your business on a day-to-day basis. That was me for a really long time. I had the awareness of my unique design, but I didn't necessarily have the tools to integrate it. And we've all heard the advice of wait a lunar cycle to make decisions. Who here has heard that advice a million times? But no one really knows what it means. Yeah, like, do we have to wait 28 days for everything? Will I know when to wait? Will I ever be able to make a spur of the moment decision? Like, these are questions that we ask ourselves. Is it possible to tilt my camera down? Oh, yeah, thank you for that. You guys were seeing like the top of my head. I really appreciate that, Destiny. Good looking out there. But yeah, like we ask ourselves all the time, like, do we have to wait 28 days for everything? When will I ever be able to make a spur of the moment decision? So it's like, okay, wait a lunar cycle, like, but tell me more, right? But no experts ever really tell us more. And so we're left with this knowledge, but no real like integration practices of when to wait and when to act. And so that is what today is all about. It's taking some of the awareness that we already have, it's going to be gaining some more awareness and then actively integrating that awareness into our business. And that's actually how we're going to start. We're going to get into the next 2 weeks or so of predictable energy shifts. So, knowing what kind of energy we're inevitably going to be embodying during this time, and then doing some planning on how we can arrange business and life activities to align with the universal patterns. Because here's the thing, are we inconsistent? Yes, we are inconsistent. And this is actually a beautiful aspect of our design. Another beautiful aspect of our design is that while we are inconsistent, our energy is cyclical, which means that we are inconsistent, but we are predictable. And this might actually be music to your ears if you didn't know this, because I didn't always know this. It took me years to figure out that I can actually like lean on the moon every month to foresee how I'm going to be feeling. And this is that integration piece. So we're going to get into that. And we're also going to get into like the whole picture, because the lunar planet, the lunar transits are definitely a tool, but that's not the whole picture. And so I'll be sharing the framework that has allowed me to move through what I call my shadow expression and ascend into the highest expression of my design and ultimately create the life of my dreams in a six-figure business where I'm not grinding all the time. Don't get me wrong, there are moments where that grind is necessary and that grind really feels aligned and good. But I'm at the point where I have that balance, because when we're in alignment, energy, like our energy moves faster, doors open naturally, and people find you. And when reflectors live by our design, like what I've come to find out, especially recently, is that our life force is freed up and we actually have more energy. And when we're not in alignment and we're in our shadow expression of our design, it can actually feel like we're kind of like swimming against the currents and forcing our way through and chasing after what we want versus being like the magnet for abundance, that being. Reflectors were not brought here to create. We were not brought here to manifest. We were not brought here to project. Like we are the manifestation and we are the projection. And all of that abundance is waiting for us on the other side of fear. And lastly, as far as today's agenda goes, I'm going to be making a really exciting and juicy invitation for all of the radical reflectors in here who are ready to take their awareness and design integration into the next level and really transform their life and business. So, full disclaimer, I will be making an amazing offer to you all, and it might not be for everyone. So, full invitation to hop off towards the end of the call if you don't want to hear about it. But it will really speak to some of you, and you'll know it's an aligned next step. And I'm so freaking excited to introduce this program to you because, like, what they say, what's the saying again? Like be the person you needed when you were younger. I've heard that a lot. And like this program feels like that for me. It feels like everything I ever wanted and everything I ever needed over the last 7 years. Um, and I look back and I think about, like just if I would have had a space like this, how much of an impact that would have had on me as I've healed my depression and my anxiety, like an eating disorder, suicidal ideation, toxic relationships, like you can name it, all of those unhealed wounds from childhood and ancestral trauma within my family, like relationships with my parents, as I've scaled two businesses to multiple six figures. Um, so yeah, and human design has really been the portal for all of that. And not only the human design awareness, but then that embodiment piece and the larger business framework that we're going to be talking about here today. So, woo, I'm excited. Okay, so before we get into the next 2 weeks of transits, and I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to prompt all of you guys to take out your calendars. We need to talk a little bit about why this even matters, because for the 99%, it has an impact, but it doesn't really like compare to how it impacts a reflector. Because while the other 99% may feel the energy, we become the energy. We are literally conduits for the universal energy. And so we have the gift of embodying it, whereas the other designs feel it, but they have those defined centers, which means that they have a certain fixed energy, right? Which we don't have. And we've all seen like a human design chart, right? We all have seen our charts. And so we know that we have those 9 energetic centers. I like to call them energetic hubs. And these hubs each embody a different energy and a different archetype. And so for the 99%, they're defined centers, right? They have 2 or 3 centers that are always defined no matter what's going on. And those defined centers are really the bedrock for how we understand them as human beings, right? It's like a fixed hardwiring, and their strategy and their authority is all through these fixed aspects. And so for them, their openness is actually something that like they're concerned about, because for them, their openness is what leads to their conditioning, right? And then you see reflectors, and we have no definition, no consistent hardwiring, no consistent life force. But our openness doesn't necessarily oppose those fixed aspects, right? Everything about a reflector is open, and everything about a reflector is about time. A reflector on any given day, like we're only an aspect of who we are. We're like the moon, like waxing and waning, right? I love that analogy because while she is always full, for most days out of the month, we only see a piece of her. We only see a sliver of her. And so everything about us is about timing and it's about experience. We are experiential beings. It is our core. And we're non-energy, but we're deeply experiential, which is like the nature of the moon. It points us towards those experiences of life. And in the ancient world, there was like this respect for the nature of the moon, and its phases were divided, and it was given like this deep analytical value, which is built into every single one of us. And so we were built to move in this dance with the moon as we take the entire sample of the 64 gates over 28 days. And only then does the reflector have like basically what is essential for us to make a decision. And so as the moon transits these 64 gates, every day a different center becomes activated for us, and we embody that universal energy that we're all conduits for. Like we're so, I just want to acknowledge that for a second because we're so freaking magical. Like I honestly can't imagine being any other way. Like my inconsistency used to cause me so much suffering, but it doesn't anymore. And I honestly love it. And it's so fun. And you couldn't pay me enough to be a generator or a manifester. Like we get to be it all. We get to be everything. We get to experience every single energy archetype that exists on this earth. Like, how fucking incredible is that? We were chosen and created this way for a special reason. Like I say this all the time, we are walking cosmic oracles because like, yeah, it's just incredible. But I can also see why this causes our design like um so much pain. Like they say that Ross says that witnessing a reflector is like seeing someone in slow motion. Like to really see the whole story of us, you have to zoom out. Because for us, a month is like a day. Time is really such a different experience for you. So for us. So hopefully this is maybe validating us a little bit if we've ever felt like, oh, why is this taking so long? Or, oh, like, why am I just not there yet? Time is an illusion for us. And so having a larger understanding of those universal energies cycling through us is going to allow us to identify what is us and what is the universal energy. And it's going to allow us to have that awareness of what we're embodying. And it's also going to allow us to like plan around this. So for an example, if I know that for the next 2 days, my throat center is going to be activated, or even if I know in advance that, okay, this week I'm going to be moving through my throat center and my root center, right? And my sacral center. I can plan accordingly. Like I know that as it relates to business, I'm gonna probably go live, I'm gonna sell on stories, I'm gonna create content. I know that I'm gonna have to be careful about having like spur of the moment conversations with clients or potential clients because when we're in our throat center, we can also have the tendency to try to prove ourselves versus anchoring into our heart center when we sell, right? So there's like these unique sort of things, aspects that I can have awareness of that's going to allow me to move in alignment with whatever it is that I'm feeling and embodying. Um, so yeah, so let's jump into next week's transits because they're so good. I'm so excited to share them. And we can brainstorm together a little bit on how we can really take advantage of the universal energy we're all going to be reflecting. And granted, like you're getting this maybe a few days before the week starts. We're going to start with Monday. I think it's the 4th. I was looking at my calendar. So you're getting it like a few days in advance. So you can't plan a ton in advance necessarily as if you had it like a month or two in advance. You probably already have some obligations on your calendar, but this will give you that awareness so you can give yourself some grace and have that awareness of what you're feeling and then make the most out of the time that you do have if you want to plug in any business or life activities that really align with the universal energy. And I want to know really quick too, before we jump in and I start sharing my screen and getting into slides there. I would love if you could put a yes in the chat if you've ever experienced a time where like you had something planned in your business, right? Maybe you planned like a podcast appearance, maybe you planned a client meeting, whatever it is. And that moment came to execute and to follow through and you just didn't have the energy. Like you just couldn't get yourself to do it. There was something else that felt more aligned to spend your time on. Drop a yes in the chat if you've ever felt like this. You've experienced that conflict or that force where your energy just like isn't aligning to what is on your plate. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Oh, there's so many messages. I love it. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen. Make sure I'm in the right spot. And this is a time where everyone can take out their notebooks. Maybe you take out your calendar. Um, don't look at my messy desktop. Yeah, take out your calendars, take out your phone calendar, your written calendar. You can take notes, whatever this might be, because this will be really, really helpful. Okay. So, can everyone see my screen? Can anyone give me a thumbs up? Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So we're going to go through, excuse me, Monday is the 28th of April. I was getting ahead of myself. Next Monday is the 5th. So we're going to be going through 7 days and then I'll send you, this was kind of we have a lot to go over. So we won't go through the week 2 of transits, but you'll get them in your emails after this. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the universal energy that we are all going to be feeling. And I'm really excited for this next week because there are some times where we're literally moving through like 2 or 3 energy activations a day, which is why there's times where you're like, why do I feel like a different person every single day? Or like, why do I feel like multiple people in a day? It's because the moon moves through 2 to 3 gates a day. And so if those gates are in different centers, there's going to be 12 hours of the day where our throat centers light up. There's going to be 12 hours of the day where our sacrals light up. And that's where that like conflict and that dichotomy of our identity and our being can really like come in and cause suffering for us. So I love this next week or so because there's actually 3 main centers that we're going to be feeling and embodying. So on Monday, and I want everyone like permission to take a screenshot of this because you're going to be getting this, like I said, in your email. But I wanted everyone to just take a moment and see, do you have any of these gates in your chart? Especially if they're in your big 4, right? Especially if they're in your incarnation cross, those top 2 numbers on the right side and the left side of your chart. But if you have any of these gates activated on a consistent basis in your chart, then that energy is going to be even more potent and there is even more of like a profound message for you. So permission to take a screenshot of this and to maybe do a little bit of research on your end afterwards. And let's go through what these days are going to look like. So Monday through Wednesday is really exciting because we're in big throat energy. Okay. So our throat is our manifestation hub, right? It's manifestation through communication. It's speaking things into existence. It's our internal energy expressed into form and how we express our truth and attract attention. So, like, the fact that we're in this energy for 3 days is amazing because it's that consistent energy that we don't necessarily feel all the time, right? So, we can count on like Monday through Wednesday, we're going to be feeling somewhat consistent, which is a beautiful thing. It's a good time to share your message and speak your truth. It's a really great time to create and batch content because as a reflector, when our throat is not defined, we can sometimes feel inconsistent in the way that we communicate, right? Like words don't always, I think, who was I talking about this with? Was it Britt? Maybe who was saying like that she has a really hard time, maybe sometimes like expressing exactly what she's feeling or exactly what's on her heart and in her mind. When our throat center is activated, it's a really good time to be intentional with our visibility as business owners, right? Because this is in the context of business. You may feel like more articulate or more clear, right? And how you're communicating, more magnetic and how your voice lands. So selling during this time can really work, right? If it's rooted in alignment and rooted in expression and not trying to like pull or trying to prove ourselves, excuse me. But here's the nuance, right? So as I mentioned, I think earlier, like selling from the throat, right? When our throat is activated, what we do want to be aware of is that like performative nature, right? It's not the same as being connected to our deeper centers, like the heart or the G center or the solar plexus, right? So it's not just about saying the thing, but it's about saying the thing that carries real resonance. So this is a really beautiful energy to be in for 3 days. And this is a time where you can really knock out some of that like outward facing visibility type of business tasks, which is probably going to be around like social media. Maybe it's the podcast that you're going to record, like whatever it is, we can plan a little bit ahead and make the most use of this time. So that's really exciting that we have that consistent energy. I always love to see that. And really quick, what I want to talk about is going to be um, so it's great that it's defined, right? For a couple days. It's great that we're going to be living in this energy from Monday to Wednesday. However, I want to touch on the fact that normally our throat is not defined. And I want to reframe that because instead of like chasing the definition and being like, oh, it feels so good, like when our throat is defined. Yes, that's an amazing energy that we get to utilize in our business. But our undefined throat that we normally have is actually a superpower. Like it makes you a shapeshifter in communication. And you don't just like, we don't just speak, like we're able to channel what is not being said, but that needs to be said. Like we mirror the energy of the room and the voice, and we voice the truths that people like don't even know that they need. Right. So it is a superpower, even when it is undefined. You can sound like whoever you need to, and this is a gift, right? But it's also magical when we can be anchored in our clarity and you know, when our throat is activated, it's really our moment to move energy, to move what's inside of us and bring it into form. So record that podcast, pitch that offer, go live, teach, like launch the thing. It's going to be an amazing few days for us there. Okay. Now we're moving in on Thursday and Friday. We're moving into big root energy. Okay, so May 1st and May 2nd, the 1st of May, excuse me there, we're in big root energy. And our root center is our adrenal motor. It is like the pressure, right, that we feel that fuels action and initiates movement. So it's like all of those ideas in our head, all the things we know we have to do, it's the thing that actually gets us to go and do it. So like that day when you're like, you've been putting off something for 2 weeks, and then for some reason, like on a random Tuesday, like you're able to get the thing done that you've been putting off for 2 weeks, and you're like, oh, like that was way easier. Like I built this thing up to be my head. Yeah, it's probably because you're in your root energy. It's all about how we respond to internal and external stress. So on Thursday and Friday of next week, right, which is May, let me just make sure. Yes, 1st and 2nd, you may feel like, oh shit, the thing that I've been putting off, like give it a try, right? You might feel a surge of a drive, a motivation, like a certain level of urgency, right? Tasks that felt hard to start may suddenly feel doable. We're going to feel more grounded. We're going to feel more decisive. We love that, right? Like our root is all about that decisive energy, being able to take action. So it's a great time to finish the thing, right? To do the thing you don't necessarily want to do, the thing you've been putting off, sending the emails, prepping the launch, right? Like whatever that might be, use this energy wisely, right? It is definitely going to be a wave. We're going to feel that surge of get shit done energy. Right? So an excellent time for back end tasks and like momentum building projects and consistent forward movement. Here is the nuance. As a reflector, we do not have a defined route. We are not built for the constant pressure. And so when this center activates, we're going to get that like temporary hit, right? But it's not going to last forever, and it's not meant to. We're not here to hustle nonstop. So when it is defined, like I love those days because and I don't let it frustrate me anymore where I'm like, oh, I just wish I had this all the time. Like there's such beauty in being able to discern, right? When is it time to act and when is it time to pause? And that's really going to be excuse me, I'm just trying to get us to the right page here. Our undefined root is a superpower. It is, because while 99% of people are moving really fast and like their action, their worth is rooted in the action that they take, right? Like that's not true for us. We are able to tune into an environment and really figure out what urgency like is reactive, right? What urgency is necessary versus like what's just noise and what's not real and what's being projected by the collective. Like we get to have that discernment, and it's a beautiful gift. And so we get to help others pause and breathe and move from alignment rather than fear. And this is why Ra says that witnessing a reflector is like witnessing a human in slow motion form, because we have the gift of knowing when to act out of alignment versus constantly being in the go, 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 go. So that discernment of like being able to slow down and not be, not join in to the collective hustle, like is such a gift. And you're not behind, you're orchestrated by perfect timing. And then beautifully enough, on Saturday and Sunday, we go back into big throat energy. Okay, so on May, let me just make sure. On May 3rd and 4th, this says second. I think Friday is the second. Oh, it's not letting me scroll, you guys. That's okay. Yeah, the 1st and the 2nd is Thursday and Friday, and then the 3rd and the 4th, excuse me. So this says second, but it should say the 3rd and the 4th. So on Saturday and Sunday, we're moving back into big throat energy. which is a beautiful thing. I love the consistency there. It's going to feel so good to like have those 3 days and then be back in our root energy and then be like, oh, I'm back in my throat energy. We can maybe finish some of what we started on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then on Monday the 5th, I wanted to circle back to Monday. I didn't just want to end on Sunday because on Monday the 5th, we move into big sacral energy, which is one of my favorite centers. I'm married to a generator. And I just love that life force energy. So the sacral is all about energy and vitality, work, sex, creativity, sustainability. This is the engine room of the body. It's the center that determines how and when we go, when we do. So it's kind of like, I mean, there's some similarities between our sacral energy and our root energy, like that surge. I would say sacral energy is a little bit more creative, right? Like our root is that urgency, that pressure, that like safety pressure, like it's like our anchored in safety, but our sacral is like this creative life force, right? It's like feeling unstoppable. It's feeling like we're capable and we're more decisive. And it's a great time for creative output. So this isn't necessarily like finishing the thing you've been putting off energy. This is like what would feel amazing for me to create. Like what would feel like art to create in my business? What's that idea that you've been thinking about and toying around with, like that little whisper in your head that'd be like, it'd be really cool to create this reel or to start this program, or like maybe it's not even in our business. Maybe it's just you're feeling the sacral pull to go be creative in a different way. Maybe it's like a paint, maybe you go painting, right? Like maybe you do the thing. It can be maybe you haven't touched your deck of tarot cards for like 6 months, but you're just feeling this pull. Like it's that creative pull. It's a little different than our root energy. But again, here's the nuance. Okay, like this energy is temporary and it's lunar fueled, which is why it feels amazing in the moment. And then it leaves you like maybe totally depleted and trying to keep up that pace. But like I said, as reflectors, if we can be aware and really lean in, like by the time Monday's over, you're already like, okay, I'm not expecting to feel this same way on Tuesday. I think Tuesday, I didn't put it in here, but I think we're moving through the Anja and the solar plexus on Tuesday, right? So like when Tuesday comes around, even though I was feeling like this life force on Monday, I'm not expecting to feel it on Tuesday. And so when I don't feel it on Tuesday and I'm feeling a little more introverted, a little more like in my internal world, I'm not so external, I don't have that life force. I don't have to be hard on myself. Like I get to just be like the person that's witnessing the car drive by, right? And you're like, oh, okay, like see you next time. See you next time you come back around. Versus like trying to hang on and keep up. Like we're not here to do that. Um, and I always like to go into, okay, so we talk about what that energy looks like for us when it is defined, and this is like a beautiful moment for us. But our superpower is the fact that our sacral is undefined. This is such a gift in business. Okay, like, because the fact that we're not always feeling that creative life force means that when we are, it is special and it is like a moment for us. And so this is really cool because like having this undefined sacral allows us to not mistake doing for value. Like just because everyone else is grinding doesn't mean that we should be. Like we were born with an energetic wisdom. We're able to sample the life force around us. And this gives us like such a deep insight into when people are forcing things, when they're overextending, when they're creating from a place of burnout. You probably know it in yourself too. And so having this undefined sacral allows us to move in this rhythm, like of this natural energy cycle. And we get to tap into surges of creative and productive energy when the timing is right and then to fully get to rest without guilt and without trying to hold on to that life force energy, like when it's not aligned. And so permission to remove that conditioning here. If you're like, oh, I don't know if I'm really good at resting and not feeling guilty, right? Like reflectors were built to rest and not feel guilty because we have that discernment, right? Work becomes sacred, not constant. You're not here to prove your worth by how much you produce. You're here to show that impact comes from intention and not output. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for a second. And I love all of these. Magda says, I don't know how to rest. Yes, it is definitely like, and here's the thing, is because 99% of business advice, like I just saw it this morning. I think I sent it to Jill a couple days ago. It was someone that was like, your success is directly related to how fast you move, and your success is directly related to how quickly you can make decisions. And the thing is like for the 99%, like that is correct, right? Because they have that center that they can anchor into at any point in time and allow that to be the thing that drives their decision making, whether it's like emotional, whatever it might be. But for us, the sign of a healthy nervous system in a reflector is being able to wait, and it's being able to pause, right? And not make a decision, and to have that trust and to know like, okay, like if I don't feel ready and I can really like have that awareness, right? Like the answer is not here yet, the clarity is not here yet. 99% will say like, well, take action. Clarity comes with action. And although I can get behind that too, like there are days when that feels good for me. There are also days where I give myself permission to not force the clarity and to allow the clarity to come. And I think that that is the sign of a reflector who's in like the highest expression of themselves, is they're able to wait, they're able to pause and have that knowing. Um, and just a reminder that we have 9 energetic centers and we only touched on 3 of those today. So like if you find yourself thinking like, why do I feel like a different person every single day? Like this is why. It's because our energy takes on a new energy. Embody is a different energy every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. And so, yeah, like we have these instances where like next week, there's a couple different energies we shift between within 24 hours. And so this coming week is going to feel really nice to have that string of like throat energy, that string of root energy coming back into the throat and then moving into that sacral is going to feel really good. Um, okay, cool. So that was the first thing we were going to go over today. I hope that that was helpful. And obviously, like the further in advance that you have these, the more you're going to be able to plan your actions around what you're inevitably going to be feeling. Okay. So the next thing I want to share with you guys, actually, I'm going to take a sip of water, because water is good for us. Take a sip of water. Okay. The next thing I want to share with you guys is your business blueprint. Like these are the codes. These are the codes. These are the aspects of human design that have personally made the most powerful impact for me and my business. Um, I'm sure everyone is going to be familiar with some of these. If you are, I'm sure you know how powerful this information is, and like the next level awareness it gives you is just incredible for our business. Um, And obviously, this is being recorded for all of us, so you can go back and watch it. But as I encouraged you to write down, like on your calendar, I'm going to also encourage you to write down this blueprint, this formula, because it's something that you can research on your own. Like I am not a gatekeeper, like I'm giving you the formula. But this is also a part of the work we do inside the first 3 months of the Radical Reflector Inner Circle, which is the program we're going to talk about in a little bit. And in the inner circle, I actually research and interpret your blueprint for you and with you, like knowing what I know about human design and how it applies to business as a reflector. I am not a formally trained human design expert, but I am someone who has self-studied for the last like 6, 7 years, and has just like the real life experience of being a reflector who's scaled two businesses to 6 figures. So I just wanted to plug that in as a little teaser for you because I think it's one thing to like look up this information on your own, but it's another thing to have someone interpret the codes with you and work through what it all means and how to actually integrate it. But like I said, I'm not gatekeeping the formula. This is the formula that has really worked for me. So let me share my screen again. Okay. Okay. So this is what I call your business blueprint. Okay. These are the codes. This is what has allowed me to design a business with my design as the foundation. This is how we're designed to lead, how to evolve, what we're here to learn, what shadows we're here to transmute into light, and how we're designed to build a business that really feels like home. So everyone knows your profile. Before we got started, I told you to drop your profile in the chat. Your profile is your life's costume. It's how you're meant to move through the world, connect with others, and express your gifts. We all, I think, are familiar with that. Um, your IC, your incarnation cross. I call it like your big four because these are the four gene keys that, like for me personally, have held have held the codes, have had the most impact in my understanding of myself. Um, Studying my incarnation cross has really been a portal in not only understanding my purpose and like the theme of my life and of my business that I'll always keep coming back to, but it's also really allowed me to understand the darker side of each gene key because every gene key has a highest expression and it has a shadow expression. And so, like, if you've not listened to Gene Keys, the audiobook, it's a book, but also you can go on Spotify and it has chapters, and every gene key is a chapter. If you have not done this yet, I highly recommend figuring out what your incarnation cross is, those top four, the two on each side, those keys, and then going and listening to the Gene Keys audiobook. It will blow your freaking mind. And like you will quantum leap like just by listening to it. So highly recommend doing that for everybody. Your nodes, your north and south node, show your karmic storyline. So this is like the tension between where you've been and the karma that you brought with you here when your soul chose your body and you came down onto this earth. It's going to show that tension between where you've been and what you're coming here with and where you were meant to grow. So I like to call this like your inner GPS for alignment. And then your channels. So the channels were sort of the last thing that I really discovered that held codes for me. There's a few different types of channels. There's like a tribe, there's individual, and you can think of it as like the highways between our centers. Right? So this is like how your energy actually moves, in what direction it's moving, what you consistently broadcast, and then the gifts that you're here to embody. Um, so yeah, highly encourage, take a screenshot, write this down. This is work that you can do totally on your own. And there's a ton of resources out there for you. But yeah, this is the magic sauce right here for sure. Um, and then there's a little bit more too. So, Saturn, Mars, Pluto, and the moon are also they also hold the codes for us. Um, these are my favorites personally to do self-study into. Like there was so much. Um, especially Pluto for me. Like Pluto was a crazy one. But Saturn is really connected to our businesses. It teaches you maturity and wise leadership. Mars is going to reveal our drive and our bold instincts. The moon shows our emotional rhythm and what keeps us moving. Mine is aloneness, which is interesting. I've been doing some digging into that on like what that really means for me. And then Pluto uncovers where like that transformation becomes our deepest power. So there's a lot of key lessons in there. And then lastly, the four variables. These are like on most apps, they're considered like advanced variables. And so digestion is really interesting. And it can be taken literally, like as far as like how our body takes in fuel, which is really interesting as someone who has actually struggled with her digestion her entire life. Like that gave me some really cool insight. Like honestly, that went beyond my business and is more so like related to health. That's really cool. Our environment, and we know how important environment is for reflectors. This is where our genius turns on. Mine is personally shores. Um, and it makes sense. I'm a Cancer. Like there's so much water in my chart. I've always felt so connected to big bodies of water, and feel so inspired there. Perspective, which is how you're meant to see the world, and then motivation, which is what actually drives you beyond pressure performance. For me, my motivation is actually fear, which is something I really, again, like, and along with my cross of tension, I'm a right angle cross of tension. The tension and the fear are two things that I really didn't understand. Like I first heard that and I was like, oh, like fear is my motivation. Like I don't really like that. But then I was able to really dig in and realize like, oh shit, like this is actually like what human design, I think, allows us to do is reframe all of the negatives that we have about ourselves and see how those negatives, what makes us different, is actually what holds our power. Like that is where our power, that is where our life force is, right? And so having this awareness is what has allowed me to ascend into the highest expression of our design. Let's see what else we have here. I'm gonna pop in the chat and see. Does anyone have any questions? Do we have channels or just gates? Yeah. So everyone has gates, and like certain gates are consistently activated in your chart, and those gates hold the codes as well. Um, do we have channels? Yeah. So our channels are like, those like, how do I describe it? Like the two lines between the centers. You guys know what I'm referring to. Like in our charts, we have those centers, and then there's like those are like the highways. There's different types of channels. There's tribal channels, there's individual channels. And so if you have like more individual channels, that's going to mean something different than like when your channels are tribal. That's going to hold something different for you. So there's a lot of meaning there. Let's see what else is on and how are we doing on time? So we've got about 15 minutes until 3 and then another 15 minutes. I wanted to knock all of this out in 60 minutes because I know everybody has shit that they've got to go do. Um, so yeah, and then what else did I want to share with you guys? Um, oh yeah, duh. And then I'm going to share my screen again. And then we have like the greater sort of formula again. Um, I don't know. I'm not one for gatekeeping. Like, I'm someone who's like, I'm going to give you the formula and then you can hire me for the implementation and like the integration and the embodiment. Because at the end of the day, like, that's a totally different journey, right? But I wanted to give everybody like my alignment formula. This is like, honestly, this is the work that I've spent the last 7 to 8 years intuitively just doing, like not knowing. I didn't have a human design coach. I had some business coaches like here and there, right? But this is something that I've just intuitively done that has gotten me to where I am as I've built the last two businesses I've built and scaled them. Um, and then looking back, I've put it into sort of like this framework per se. And so part one is really like the awareness and sort of what we've gone over a little bit here today, right? Which is that human design business blueprint, those power points of our human design that hold the codes for how we're here to lead and evolve and transform, the transit tracking, which we went over a little bit. And I'm sure like just getting that week of those transits and that week of awareness, like if you were to really zoom out and go, holy shit, like imagine if I use those transits to plan the next 6 months of my life, like what would that feel like? I encourage you to just test it out over the next 7 days and see like how it feels. I would love feedback from you. And then what we didn't go over today actually was the cycle syncing, which is sort of that next level awareness. Again, it's just another tool of as women, we are literally synced to the 4 phases of the moon, right? Our menstrual, our bleed. Cycle syncing is another amazing tool. Like if you look at my calendar, I literally have it blocked off on what phase I'm in because again, it's just that awareness and it's that sort of like permission slip of like, okay, cool. Well, even if I am in my root or even if I am in my sacral, but I'm also in my luteal, like, which is the like lowest energy phase of the 4 phases of every month that we go through, like that predictability, it's just going to allow me to meet myself with grace. And it's going to allow me to know what is mine and what is not. And when a reflector is able to identify what is theirs and what is not, like for me, that's the freedom. That was like the freedom for me was like, holy shit, everything that I'm feeling is not actually who I am. Crazy. And then there is the part two, right? So it's not just the awareness. I think maybe a lot of us walked into this room today with a good level of awareness, but the part that not everybody talks about is the integration, right? So it's that embodiment piece. I could talk about embodiment for forever. Um, because it's that mind to nervous system connection, that mind to body connection. Just because you know something to be true in your brain does not mean that your body has caught up, right? Our body stores trauma. So just because our brain says this is safe, our body's going, it doesn't feel safe to me. Like our body has to catch up. And so that embodiment piece, somatics, Jill and I were talking about this earlier, like somatics has been a portal for the both of us. Right? Inner child healing, that shadow work, that meeting your inner child, right? And holding her. Um, like I can't tell you how powerful doing that shadow work is. And there's different containers that I'm in, even now where like it's always it's work we have to always be doing. There's never like a finish line. We're constantly evolving and we're constantly uncovering. Like I thought that, oh my God, I'll just scale my business to 6 figures and I'll be good. Like I'll be happy. But like more money, more problems. Like that is truth. Like our problems just evolve and take different form. And there's always new stuff that we're pulling out and peeling back the layers of the onion. And so there's that integration piece, that embodiment piece. And then there's the business alignment, which is why we're all here, right? Like it's having that awareness, and then it's bringing that awareness from our mind to our body. right? And then it's simultaneously aligning our business with what we now know about ourselves and our purpose and our life themes and our patterns and our predictable energy. It's incorporating all of these things into how we run our day-to-day business, our messaging, our offers, right? Our content, our model, like the kind of business model. Are we doing one-on-one? Are we doing group? Am I creating a community? Right? How am I launching? What's my launch strategy? Am I doing live conversion events, or does it feel better for me to like record a standalone video and send that out and message people, DM them personally? Like there's a million variations, and we get to decide what feels good for us. Sales system, how we sell, right? Like it's just there's so much. So this is really like the formula. This is what I've spent the last 8 years doing, which is like, damn, like it took you 8 years. Like, yeah, it took me 8 years to really, and as I was doing it, like I wouldn't even say I was consciously like, I'm gonna create this formula that's gonna help me like align my business. Like, no, this is really just sort of over the last 6 months in hindsight, I've looked back and I've said, okay, like what has allowed me to ascend into the highest expression of the reflector design, and what is that like replicatable formula that I can spread awareness on. And again, it's work that we can do on our own. But I will say this, it feels much better to do this work with other people, with other reflectors. Um, So yeah, we went through a bunch of stuff today. It was a lot of information. And we've got about 15 minutes left. And so if you're feeling good and you're like, I'm not really interested in what Christine's about to talk about next, like full permission to hop off. You can watch it back if you get curious down the road and you want to watch the replay. But for the next like 5 minutes or so, I'm going to talk a little bit about the 12-month inner circle for radical reflectors, and what this container looks like, what this program entails. Um, and it's really like, and it's not going to be for everybody, okay? It's really designed for the person who desires the tools and the strategies and the mentorship support to not only scale a business you love and that supports your fluid, ever-changing energy, um, but to also create a life that sets you free. Um, this is not a 90-day quick fix. Like this is the work that has taken me 8 years because I didn't have someone beside me who was guiding me and supporting me. Like this is not a magic bullet quick fix. This is a year-long transformative journey for the spiritual warrior who's devoted their life to rising into the most aligned version of themselves so that they can fulfill their purpose to serve others. That is like a critical piece. That is my purpose here on this earth, to serve others. It's written in the stars, like it is everywhere in my chart. Um, it is what I was sent here to do, is to serve others. And so I think that that is like really a critical piece for the woman who is going to step into this container. Right? Like I think Destiny posted today actually something that was like saying how trees don't eat their own fruit. Like the river does not drink its own water. Right? Like these resources are here for others. And as reflectors, like we really were brought here to awaken the 99%. And honestly, if there's one thing I've learned from investing in business mentorship, like with a projector who I love so much, I don't know if Paulina is still on here, but my business mentor, I have a reflector mentor and I also have a projector like business mentor who has been the catalyst in me like stepping into my power, raising my vibration, raising my prices. Back in 2024, I invested in her high level 12-month container, which is more than anything I've ever spent money on, more than any car I've ever purchased, more than a down payment on like a house. It was multiple five figures and it was worth every single freaking penny. But the reason I bring that up is because what I've learned is that like year one in a mentorship container with the right mentor is really just the pregame. Like it's where all the unconditioning, the deconditioning happens, which has to happen first for that business strategy to really, really sink in and be potent. And this is why I'm like so excited for the women who are going to see the insane value of this program. Like I've heard the phrase selling as a service before, and I understood what it meant in theory, but I never really understood on like a body level because up to this point, selling isn't something I have loved to do. I'm not bad at it. My first business, I owned a sales agency with like, I had 15 employees, I had Fortune 500 clients. I worked my way up from an entry-level sales position. So I can sell, but I don't really like it. And I've never felt this level of alignment in what I've offered. Like even taking into consideration the last few years of my current business, I've been working with solopreneurs to build their personal brands on LinkedIn. I work with a lot of older gentlemen. So this radical reflectors inner circle feels like so good to talk about, and it just feels natural to talk about because it's something I would invest in. And like that's really an important question I think we have to ask ourselves as entrepreneurs. Like knowing myself as a buyer, knowing myself as an investor, would I invest in my own program? Like I remember when I asked myself that question for the first time and I answered yes pretty quickly. I was like, yeah, I would, of course I would invest like in myself. Like I'm an amazing coach, I'm an amazing strategist. And it wasn't until a few weeks later that I got really honest with myself and was like, no, I actually don't know if I'm embodying the version of myself that I would invest in. And that was really the start of like this new expansion of my business, which is working with reflectors. And I know it's the work that I'm meant to do because 5 years ago, I was literally searching for a reflector business coach. I was in my first business and it wasn't aligned. And a couple years earlier, I had learned I was a reflector and I was like desperately trying to feel better and to do better. And after not finding one over the years, like I just kind of forgot about searching for this reflector business coach. And then about 6 months ago, two businesses under my belt, and I wasn't even paying attention. And I started getting these messages from reflectors telling me that they're looking for a reflector business mentor and that in their search they found me. And I was like, it was just like this fate that I had gotten a taste of 5 years back, like it finally showed back up on my doorstep in the most beautiful, organic way that I honestly could have been predicted by my human design. Um, but yeah, so it was literally written in the stars for me to do this work, as is your purpose and your path is also written in the stars. And that's what this container is all about. So we meet twice a month. We're going to cover over 20 business topics, not even including the first 3 months of human design awareness. So, that first 3 months is that human design deep dive. It's gaining that awareness, right? And let me say, I think I've said this already, but this container is not, it's not a 90-day container. It's not even a 6 month container. My business to this point, earning six figures, 10K months, like working less than 25 hours most weeks, right? Like it took me 8 years and five different iterations of my business to get here. So if 1 year sounds outrageous to you, I would say, yeah, it might not be aligned, right? Like you might have to do some mindset work to sort of shift, like, instant gratification is actually just a trauma response. So if you're looking for like a quick magic bullet to success, this is not going to be that. This is deep spiritual work. And for the women who see this insane value of this container, I want to make it really easy for women to step into the portal. So I'm doing something really special to call in the inner circle's founding members, which sounds really cheesy, but it's really truly what this is because this is the start of something so epic and so life-changing for our design. And it's going to continue to grow and evolve and become a movement. But for a while, it is going to be a really intimate group of women who see themselves as the oracles who go first. Did y'all know they have reflector conventions in Australia? Yeah. I'm like, why don't we have one here? Okay. Like one day, 3 years, 5 years, maybe it's way further down the line. Who knows? It's already written, like it's already written there, it's already in the stars. Like we're gonna have a reflector convention here, not in Australia, where our businesses get to shine. And the women who know this deeply spiritual work is for them who step into this container are going to be the women who are leading our movement in the human design world and in the business world. And you can tell I'm passionate about this because, yeah, Radical Reflectors is my movement, and gathering awakened reflectors is my purpose because we are going to awaken the entire freaking world. So yeah, I'm excited to open the doors to the inner circle today. And the value to price ratio is actually insane. Like, I feel so good about being in a place in my business where I'm established enough to be able to do something like this. So, we talked about the two parts of the program, the human design awareness portion, month 1 through 3, and then the full embodiment and integration piece over the next 9 months. Let's talk about what all you get. Okay. And all of this is going to be sent to you. You're going to get an email. You're going to get all of the things, the replay. And there's no rush on this because doors are open. They're not closing. It's not the thing where you only have a certain amount of time to hop in. Like that would make zero sense considering I'm talking to reflectors and it takes all of us a month or two to figure out if something's aligned. But I also think that there's probably some women who are listening to this and who are going to listen to the replay who it does feel really aligned for, and you are able to anchor into that knowing, and you know, like this is what you've been waiting for. So for 111, $111 per month, you get 2 meetings per month where we're going deep. We're healing wounds. We're building skills. We're realigning our businesses. We're growing brands and expanding our businesses. Like I said, we're covering over 20 business topics ranging from main character content to offer suite revamp to pricing to selling as a service on social media. Like the value of this is insane. 24 meetings, and you get access to me 24/7 on Telegram. I always answer questions within 48 hours. So it's a really high touch, high proximity support container. Um, and yeah, the value of this, like, I'm just really excited. I offer this work to non-reflectors, and my current price point, like for my one-on-one containers that I've built over the last 2 years, and I say this like really, really proudly, is 1111 per month. And so my one-on-one contracts like start at 13K. And so I'm so excited to offer this at this amazing rate because like for me, again, putting myself in the buyer investor position, like it just feels like a no-brainer. You get your human design deep dive, business blueprint. Every month you get the lunar transits delivered to you. So ahead of time, you can align your business to it. We also take the time to sync our business to our monthly cycles. You're going to learn how to build a personal brand on LinkedIn, which is where I've built my businesses over the last 8 years and have scaled over there. So if you follow me on Instagram and you're like, huh, like she's built 2 businesses, she only has 700 followers. Yeah, go visit me on LinkedIn. And if you're not over there yet, we'll get you over there. We'll get you building. That's where I've built my one-on-one high ticket business with high ticket buyers over there. Honestly, like if you're on LinkedIn, you're someone who's committed to personal growth. That's where business owners hang out. And if you are over there on LinkedIn and you're like, okay, cool, Christine, I don't need to build a brand on LinkedIn. I already have a brand on LinkedIn. That's awesome. You get me as a copywriter, okay? And a copy editor. That's an aspect of this container. And so we're going to get you getting those likes, getting that engagement, people messaging you, asking about your services. You also get my LinkedIn Accelerator course, which is valued at over $500. Amazing. Um, and I haven't even talked about the somatic sessions yet. Like, I think that that's probably my like I'm most excited for that. I am not going to be leading all of these sessions. I will be leading a couple of them, but we're going to be bringing in guest healers who are going to come in for breathwork sessions, for sound healing, movement exercises, like that real mind-body connection, which is, yeah, definitely my favorite aspect of this. I'm super excited to bring in amazing women to share their gifts, some of which will be reflectors, which is really exciting. Um, and yeah, I mean, you're really just overall getting a whole new relationship with time, energy, success, because when we stop trying to be the 99% and start honoring the 1%, like that we are, everything, freaking everything changes. So we're wrapping up here. You also have 3 payment options. I'm going to drop the link here in a second. But there's some different payment options. So you can pay the 111 every month. You can pay in full and get your first month for free. So on the, on the link I'm going to drop, it's going to walk through all of that. And there's also something for the person who really values like the one-on-one dynamic, because I've spoken with a few of you over the last few months. And something I keep hearing from reflectors is that they prefer that one-to-one. And I get it because I prefer it too. And it's how I scaled my business, was offering high ticket one-to-one. So you can add on one-to-one for like an amazing price that I'm so excited to offer you. Don't tell all the old men clients that I work with on LinkedIn. They're going to be pissed. But don't get me wrong, these prices are going to be going up. So the doors to the inner circle are staying open, right? There's no rush, there's no urgency. Like, please hear that from me, right? Like, take your time discerning if this is for you, right? Um, they're staying open, the doors are staying open, but the price is only going to last until the full moon, which is when we get started. So we're getting started on May 12th. And so for those who know that right now, as I'm talking, this is an aligned next chapter. Like you're done with just the awareness, you're ready for the embodiment and the integration, and you're ready for a year from now to be able to say, like, I've built a business that supports my energy, that I don't have to force, that just feels like that is my life force. That is what my business has become for me. It used to be this thing that took from me. And now it's really the thing that like I'm excited and I wake up for every single day. And so if this is what you've been waiting for, I'm offering like a special gift for the first 5 women who do walk into the inner circle, with a special little like bonus content audit where we would spend 90 minutes, we would jump on, we would do a content audit, and we would really just dig into like whatever it is that feels good for you. That way we can kickstart like right away, and you don't even have to wait until the 12th to get started. Like we would just jump on and kick this transformation off. So um, yeah, it just feels so good to offer this. And it's so fun talking about it because I'm just excited to share my work with all of you and rise together and like lead the way together for everyone else, because like this group of women went first. So all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the link in here. Everyone's gonna get it emailed to them. You'll get the replay, you'll get all the stuff. And the info page, listen, I'm about to invest actually in a reflector designer that I'm really excited about working with. If you're in our Telegram, she's in there. So I'm really excited to like redesign my offer pages. There is a lot of information on this page, and it's because I'm someone who appreciates like all the little details, and there's a lot of fun nuggets we cover over 12 months. Like everything I just went over today is definitely the skeleton of what this rebirth in ourselves and our business looks like. But like I didn't want to leave out any of the nuance, because like one nuance topic we cover might be the cherry on top for you. So it goes through like all of those 20 topics we're going to be covering. So read through everything, take your time. Or if you feel rooted in your intuition and inner voice right now, and you're like, yeah, like you have this like knowing and it feels so good and aligned, like this is the thing you've been waiting for, then the doors are open for you. officially. We start on the full moon. The first 5 women are going to be getting that one-on-one special 90-minute content audit. And I just hope I made it so easy for you to step into this transformation with everything that we went over today. Um, my energy and my frequency, because at the end of the day, I'm someone that believes that like our value doesn't just come from what we know. And there was a lot of information that was delivered to you today, but ultimately anybody could have delivered you that information. So the impact that I really want to make is like that energy and that frequency, and y'all going off and having like an amazing rest of your day, because like this meeting just raised all of our frequencies and all of our vibrations. And maybe you can feel whether or not this is an aligned connection, like you and that I'm the mentor for you. And maybe you feel a little on the fence right now, like, damn, it sounds like a lot, and you're feeling some resistance. And so, what I'll say is, where there's resistance, there is power in asking ourselves some questions, because a lot of times our body can feel our desire for something, and it'll tell us like familiar stories to kind of keep us safe, right? So, be aware of your nervous system trying to protect you and keep you in the same spot. I recognize this in myself. It's something that kept me from investing for a long time, is like that fear and the possibility of growth. Our body likes to keep us safe, and it'll keep us from walking through those doorways to the rest of our life if we've been programmed to interpret that doorway as like unsafe. And this is the work we do inside of the inner circle. It's those limiting beliefs and those subconscious patterns and that nervous system capacity up leveling, that money mindset. So yeah, as you can see, I can talk about this program forever, because yeah, it really is me like being who I needed when I was younger, like being who I needed and offering the services that I needed over these last 8 years. So I'm so excited. I cannot wait to see like who steps into it. It just feels like an amazing chapter, an amazing next chapter. And so, yeah, thank you all for being here with me today. I just wanna like, I'd hate to just send everybody off. Like, I would love to just open up the floor and hear, like, did anything really, really resonate with you? How are you feeling about having that awareness over the next like week or so? Did that feel like good to have that awareness and be able to kind of like foresee and plan? So full invitation. I'm gonna shut up now. I've been talking for, I'm right on the money. Okay. Normally the first one of these I ever ran, I booked it for 90 minutes and I talked for like 3 freaking hours. And then I cried afterwards. So I'm really excited I was right on the money, but I'm gonna stop talking and really just open up the floor for anybody who wants to unmute. If not, no pressure. And if you're anything like me, you'll think of like 5 more things after we hang up of like, oh, I should have said this or I should have asked this. I'm always here. Jill, you're like, yeah. My inbox is always open. My Telegram is always open. Thank you guys so much for being on today. This was like it was a gift for me. Like this is the work I want to be doing. This is the shit I want to be talking about. So it's such a gift to have all of you here today, like listening and honoring me, and honoring yourself and your design. Like it's a beautiful thing. And I'm so freaking proud of all of us. Lacey, I have to say, seeing you pregnant with that gun in your hand. If y'all don't follow Lacey, Lacey's an actress, and she just had was it like a guest appearance or like a supporting role that you were on? Like give us the scoop.
It was a fun just one episode spot for the TV show Will Trent. So it's been interesting being, I mean, I've been an actor my whole life. My gene key and incarnation cross, I feel like definitely fits the transfiguration. But yeah, acting, I mean, we're also limitless, and I think that's a huge part of my message is grace and transfiguration. So acting has been fun, but I also yeah, I think going through a Saturn return empowered me to see the other parts of business and to not, I think actors can feel so disempowered and like you're waiting to be chosen, you're waiting to be seen. So to take my power back as a creative has been fun. And honestly, everything you've talked about is the journey I've been on with human design, with gene keys, with just embodiment of my graph, taking power back and understanding like I can make my rhythm, integrate into business, into everything. But it's been, I'm so curious to hear and learn more about everyone else's business as reflector women, because I'm still so all over the place. I'm the headshot photographer when I'm not acting. So it's still industry, but that's the part of me that's more like trying to figure out my rhythm around scheduling. Whereas acting, I'm at the whim of whenever I book, and I've
Mm.
just been used to those. Yeah.
So cool. I saw that. Yeah, you posted that picture of you like putting on a car with a gun. I guess your character,
What an iconic photo.
like iconic. Yeah, iconic. And I was like, and I think it was like, I'm not pregnant. But I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, it was so
So many
fun.
people are like, is this some fucked up announcement of you being pregnant because you're pregnant with a gun on a car? Like, what the fuck? I was like, nah, this is I have I mean, as actors, we have archetypes that casting sees you as, and I've learned that people think I'm lethal. So I'm a bad bitch. So
Yeah.
I'm actually very sweet, but I come across as a cunt sometimes. I love that for me.
I love it. I love that for you too. That is so iconic. Yes. Yes. Anybody else want to share like where you're at, what's coming through? Again, no pressure, like feel free, you're good to hop off, but I'm gonna hang on here till everybody's ready to go. So yeah, does anybody feel like stepping into some visibility and talking a little bit about where they're at?
I have a question.
Go girl.
I posted in the chat, but you probably didn't see it. So when I've like researched transit calendars, I've seen solar calendars. So people will make the the sun moving through the gates. And so I'm kind of curious. And on the one hand, I looked at it, I was like, oh, cool. Much less to absorb for the month,
Yes.
much less. But I also know, you did this around like obviously the moon moving through. And so could you just talk about that distinction a little bit and also why it's so hard to find the lunar transit calendars? I'm kind of curious what your process has been.
Yeah, I love that. So yeah, there's a lot of solar calendars because the 99% are considered solar beings. Like for them, right? Like the sun's cycle is daily, like and it's yearly, right? Whereas for a reflector, we're considered lunar beings. And so we're deeply connected to the moon. And there's more that comes with that, right? Because it's just moving differently. Um, and it's moving through multiple gates in a day, whereas the solar calendars don't. Like you said, it's like a lot less. And so that just goes to show that solar beings are dealing with a lot less like inconsistency, and a lot less like energy. It is just like by nature, solar beings, the sun is a more consistent energy being in the sky. Um, and so yeah, I don't know if that necessarily answers your question. I've never felt I don't track the solar transits because at the end of the day, that's not my rhythm. Like, you know what I mean? Like Ra literally says, like the 99%, like a day is a day for the 99%. A year is a year for the 99%. For us, a day, it takes us a month to get through everything that we need to get through. Whereas a solar being in any given moment can just like root into their emotional authority or their heart authority or whatever their authority is and just get that answer. Like for us, it takes those 28 days like to get the answer. And so that's why I track the lunar transits. Um, I feel so much more connected to the moon and just my rhythms than the sun. And honestly, I think it's something that every woman should do, whether you're a reflector or not. Because even if you are a solar being, we like every woman still is a lunar being in that we have the four phases of like the month that matches and mirrors like this huge cosmic freaking thing in the sky. And so even if you're not a reflector, I still think there's like so much value in like the lunar aspect. But it is a lot more because it changes more frequently and it's moving, it's just moving, it's moving, it's like moving quicker through the gates than like the sun is. Um, and then for some reason that translates to us moving slower. It's like it's a mind fuck. It really is. Um, if I were to like wrap up what it is to be a reflector, like it's the mind fuck. Holly, were you gonna say something?
Yes, to answer her question about where to track your lunar cycle, you can get the Neutrino app. I pay for it. It's really good. You can set it to what transit me wanting to speak because my throat is projected right now because of the moon. My bad, y'all.
Yes.
You see, so you could get you the Neutrino app and you can pick which one you want it to do for you. There you go, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Your mic.
I was just saying that's so good. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
That's I had to share. I'm like, I was struggling for a while and then I found this and it's beautiful. And it tells you how long you'll stay in a gate. And like I have the gate of acceptance and I right now activated and I feel like that's really showing.
I love it.
Yes. So please enjoy. I do pay for it because you get to keep everybody's chart that you'll ever know.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can make composites over everybody and you can find out who's dominating you and what channels. It's really, really good. And it has everything she talked about, the digestion, your variables. Yes, I'm a 5-1. I love research.
I love it. I love it. Gosh, it just like it just fills my cup to be here with you guys. Yeah, it just feels so good. And thanks for being here and for sticking on and for chatting a little bit afterwards. I hope everyone has an amazing weekend. Go do something for you, even if it's just 10 minutes, go do something for you. And I love you, and you are so loved. And this isn't it. We'll talk to you guys. We'll talk again soon. We're gonna jump on again soon. We don't have a reflector circle happening in May, but our next one is in June, and Angie's gonna be leading that one. I am not leading every single one. So if you have a desire to lead one of our reflector circles, please let me know. You'll get a little opportunity to talk about you, like full liberation to run it however you would like to run it. I'm obviously here to help, structure that if you would like my advice. But like also full permission to just do it how you want to do it. So if you have any desire to run our reflector circle, our next one that's open, maybe we should just do it every month because I think it'll be really cool to give like everyone the opportunity to do it. Every other month it's kind of like it just limits how many people can be in the spotlight, and I want everyone to be able to be in the spotlight. So I'll probably shift it to being every month. So yeah, let me know if you have any desire to lead one of our circles. And thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris. See y'all.
Bye.
Bye.